good.
All right, ready to roll. Thanks, guys, for being here this week. And as we wrap up our October schedule already, can't believe it.
Going quick.
So, yeah, heading to Ohio this week. Coach, you start us off with a statement about last week and going into Ohio.
Yeah, obviously, last week was a good team win. Guys played together. Guys played unselfish. Guys played hard for 4 quarters. That's something that we've been trying to do all season. And then obviously they was able to, get the lead, extend the lead, and then pull away at the end. And it was good to see, and it's good for their confidence to continue working hard. And that's all you want is an opportunity each and every week to have a chance to play your best. I'll be remiss if I didn't take a little bit of time to talk about our compete team. Guys that's giving us a look each and every single week. Guys are working tremendously hard, tremendously physical. We've been, I don't know if you paid attention, but we've been rotating different guys in and maximizing the 4-game rule. But I want to point out some guys. I'm sure that their parents maybe watch some of these things. Evan Malcor, offensive lineman up front, doing a nice job. Christian Nash, running back, gives great look every week. Nevin Kremascoli is a quarterback that's developing nicely. Malik Armstrong, receiver. Dane Partridge, another receiver. Jacob Finley, he's played in 3 games so far. He has 1 game left and done a nice job. Nick Alvarado, showed up on the compete team the past 3 weeks and, caused a fumble on the kickoff team last week. He's a guy that has a tremendous future. Dawson Raperta, defensive end, a guy that gives great energy, great looks every week. Cam Crowell, a young man from Georgia, who's going to be a great player in our program. Skylar Gill Howard, a guy that transferred in up front, has been tremendous in the trenches. Jake Gassaway, a linebacker who's played in 2 games so far. He has 2 more games. And Teron Kelman, running back. And all these guys do is are great teammates, a great example of how we're trying to build our program, and guys that have bright futures in our program, but they are giving a great look on the compete team and getting us ready each and every single week. And the thing about our football team is if you don't come ready to play on Tuesday and Wednesday, you may get embarrassed by the compete team. And that shows the type of depth that we have in our program, along with a bunch of other guys that I didn't name. So I just want to give those guys a shout out because they do a tremendous job each and every single week. And then on Thursday, that's their last day of practice, and we say great job to those guys. So obviously a big game this week at Ohio, a good football team, a tremendous offensive football team led by the quarterback, number 7. He's a guy, I remember seeing him at the MAC Media Day, and his size is impressive. He is a big guy, and that's what I've tried to convey to our team. He distributes the ball to the wide receivers. Number 12 is a good player. He's got some other guys he's getting the ball to. They got 2 really, really good tight ends. They got a running back, number 22, and then an offensive line that works well together. They understand protection. They understand how to keep him protected, and they work. They got a really, really good offense, and obviously we played them a couple of years ago. They're gonna have 5 or 6 trick plays in the bag, so we got to be alert on every single snap. Defensively, they play better as the season has went along. Last week they had 6 turnovers, 5 picks, and a fumble. And they gained some confidence by the way they played last week. So we got a tremendous challenge with their defense. And then special teams, this is a unit that understand what they're doing. They understand their identity. You see some of the trick plays seep into their kickoff return unit. So this is a team that every play you have to be alert for something that may be coming your way. So we got a tremendous challenge. We need to have a great week of preparation. That started this morning. We had one of our more intense practices of the year, and it was good to see. It's good to see our kids come back with an edge about them that they want to continue to get better and try to do everything possible to win this weekend.
Totally different than what you saw in 2019. I know they got a new staff and everything.
Yeah, no, the head coach was the offensive coordinator. I think they've changed a little bit. I think in 2019 they were more. It was the quarterback's brother, but they were more. Leaning toward the run. Obviously, this kid is a tremendous thrower of the football, so they're going to utilize his strengths. So I think he's passing for about 70%, over 300 yards a game. So we got a tremendous challenge, versus this passing game. And then obviously, we can't put so much emphasis on the passing game that this running back is a good player. He's big, he's physical, he's shifty. He can come downhill. So we got to make sure we honor the run and the pass.
With the passing game the way it is, obviously, what did you see out of your defensive line that was really clicking for you guys last week and getting as much pressure as you guys did?
Well, I thought our defensive line played really, really strong last week. But, one thing I talked about a couple weeks ago is we got to play team defense. So, if the back end gives you an extra second, that allows you to get a sack. We had some coverage sacks last week, which is good to see. And the quarterback had to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. But it's not just the defensive line. It's the guys playing behind them that also help. So we got to get 11 guys communicating, playing together, playing team defense, what they did last week, and we got a chance to be pretty good.
Kind of gave that kind of a sigh of relief. You finally put it together and, got a win.
Not necessarily a sigh of relief. It's just happy that the kids played the way I've always thought they can play. And now that they see it, now they got to take it and run with it. I mean, we're 10 plays away from our record being completely flipped. So just because we didn't make those plays don't make us a bad football team. We just didn't make the plays. But now, you go out there and you play like you played last week. Now you have to stack weeks, and they got to come back and prepare and do the things necessary to get themselves in position to play to that standard. What is our standard on defense? That's what they should be chasing each and every single day.
Coach, what did you learn about this team last week? Obviously, it's the first game this season you've gotten that type of performance from your defense at all three levels, but across the board, offense included, what did you learn about the team last week?
Well, I mean, it's hard to learn anything when this is what I think about them. I've said it from the beginning, this is a good football team. We didn't make a couple plays here and there, but that didn't change my thought about them. I'm not tied to emotionally to the results. I'm tied to the process, and I want our players to be tied to the process of doing the things to continue to get better. And so, we lost a couple games. I didn't say, hey, we're not a good football team. I still told them they are a good football team. Now you have to do it for four quarters. So we were able to play 4 quarters. It'd be nice to play 4 more quarters this weekend, and then you get a little mini break. So that's the only thing. This is the most important game of the season this week to play our best football.
You mentioned the secondary having a part, giving the extra second there and the coverage sacks. What did you see on the whole out of the secondary that you thought improved kind of from the way they had been performing in the past, or led at least to the better results that they had?
No, I think they play with confidence. They play with an edge. They play with energy. You looked at our sidelines, guys were communicating with one another, talking with one another, celebrating other people's success. I showed some clips from the Toledo game, and we made a sack and nobody celebrated. That's not what teams do. Teams celebrate each other's success because we are all on the same team, pulling in the same direction. And so when Esther made that play early in the game, you saw everybody sprinting to him to congratulate him because we are all on the same team working together. And that's what I wanted them to understand, that no matter the situation, no matter the circumstances, we are a team. And, when you're on a team, you do things necessary to be a great teammate. And I think they got back to that last week, and that was good to see. And it showed by the way we play.
Coach, often throughout the season you talk a lot about the importance of special teams. Last week we saw Richardson was able to get all of his kicks for his confidence in this season. What was the level of importance to have a game like that?
Yeah, I think, obviously, John was struggling at the earlier part of the season. In the Toledo game, we had a decision to make. It was a fourth down call, and it was going to be a long field goal. And obviously, the recommendation was to go for it. But in my mind, I wanted to give John Richardson some confidence. So I sent him out there to kick a long field goal, and he made it. And then what you saw was he turned around last week in practice and competed his butt off to get better. And then obviously in that game last week, he showed up for us. And we need him to show up like that for the next 5 weeks, especially as the weather changes and different things. The wind becomes a factor. And so, we need to be really, really good on special teams.
I was seeing the way the kids played last Saturday. I mean, you like your chances the rest of the way after the games you have to play, teams you have to play?
We taking it one game at a time. We trying to play this game, and then we get a mini bye. That's our total focus. So whatever we need to do to be 1-0 this week, that's what we're going to try to do. And this is a good football team, and we got to play our best football for 4 quarters to give ourselves a chance.
How's the offense shaping back up? Lombardi's health, do you expect him back? And then let me start with that. Lombardi, how's he shaping up?
Every week we're gonna do what we need to do to figure out what we need to do to win. So, whatever it takes. And I think the great thing about our offense is we have a bunch of unselfish players that are willing to do whatever it takes to win. So, obviously we still working on the game plan and practice and everything else. So we'll see how the week progresses at all positions. I think it's important that everybody is involved and everybody understands their role for the particular week.
How would you say you mentioned after the game that you might need to throw a little more, that especially in the situations when Rocky wasn't in there. Looking back, do you still think that working on throwing, like what you said after the game, that's still something that needs to happen more?
Yeah, we had throws, that we were going to throw in the second half, but then I reminded him in the Ball State game we had a lead and we was throwing the football, and that didn't turn out well for us. So, we're going to play the game to win the game that particular week. I can care less how many times we run it or how many times we pass it, as long as we figure out a way to score one more point than the opponent. And so I just reminded our staff to say, yeah, y'all got these throws y'all like, but in the Ball State game, those things did not work. So let's win the game, and then we'll figure out the throws for next week.
Coach, the timing of the bye week. Obviously, this season we've dealt with a lot of injuries, but do you think this is like the best time of the season to have that little break before midweek action begins, and then everything gets a little bit crazier?
Obviously, when you play in the MAC, you don't really get a true bye. It'd be nice to have a bye during the season, like most conferences, but it is what it is. I think we've been getting healthier as the season has went along. It's good to have guys coming back. We got a couple more guys back this week, so sometimes you play these games and people don't realize how many guys you were missing. We played a game with 8 or 9 starters that didn't play. Never complained, never threw a fit, but with the understanding that, hey, whoever goes out there, the next man up mentality. And I love the fight of our players. I love the way they go about their business. And it's good to start seeing more guys back on the practice field.
We talked to him also about managing their schedule after this week. Since you get to the Wednesday schedule, then you get that last game on the Saturday. Totally different than what you've gone through already.
I love the MAC. I love how the MACtion game maps out from a schedule standpoint, because your busiest days are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which the kids don't have any class conflicts, and then it lightens up toward Monday and Tuesday. I love how it sets up. We practice Friday night, and then we come back Saturday. We done by noon, and they can be students or watch college football. I really love the MACtion schedule, to be honest with you. I'm a big fan of it.
You mentioned Rocky. In case he doesn't play the rest of the season, would he be possibly eligible for like a medical red shirt to come back, or do you know?
I think all those things happen in time. Those are all things we have to, take into consideration. But right now, we're trying to figure out a way to beat Ohio, and that's the only thing that's important. So we're going to figure out what's the best way to beat Ohio this week, and hopefully we can have everybody available.
How have you liked what Lynch has been bringing to the table the last couple of weeks?
No, I think his confidence has really grown. He's practicing better. I think sometimes when you are like maybe third on the depth chart, maybe you're not as engaged. He's fully engaged. He's playing at a high level, and the more reps that he takes, the better he gets. So excited about Justin and his potential in our program.
Is he at the point where you're trusting him, where you guys as a staff are trusting him to throw a little more, or do you think that it's been successful enough?
Yeah, this whole throwing thing. He threw at Temple last year. Yeah, he knows how to throw the football, and he will throw the football. So that's I don't understand the angle here. He's a quarterback.
It's wondering why
He's a quarterback, and he is going to throw the football. I can promise you that.
Who would be like your fourth? I'm not just looking at your depth chart quarterback-wise. Who would be?
Yeah, probably me. So I don't know. We done already got down in numbers, so I'm not too concerned with who's the fourth quarterback.
Going through what, 6, 5 or 6?
That's all right. We'll figure. One thing about our staff, we'll figure out a way, by any means necessary, to put 11 guys out there and play good football.
Anything else for Coach today? All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, we have Logan Chernitz, offensive guard, David Rayner, linebacker, with us today. Questions for these gentlemen?
Start with Logan. Offensively, you've seen a lot of different players in the offense, receivers, quarterbacks, running backs. Does that make your guys' job up front any tougher with the people behind you, or is it kind of just the same?
It's kind of just the same. You have to trust the people behind you, The coaches do a great job getting those young guys ready, the second, the third string guys. So when they fill in for a spot, it's pretty much the same for us, just doing the same job, keeping them clean.
With going back and forth between like the Wildcat and then when Rocky was coming for the standard throws, does that create like kind of a little clash for you guys on the line, or is it again like the last question, just hey, it doesn't matter, we're just doing the one job, or does it change if like I said, it's going to be a Wildcat play versus a standard play from the pocket?
In your head, like there's different people back there saying the cadence and everything, so it's going to change a little bit, but overall, we're still running the same plays. We're still doing the same stuff. It's just a little different personnel, so it doesn't really change much for us.
David, for you guys, defensively, best performance of the season last week. What did that mean to you guys, and how do you look to build on that going into Ohio?
It meant a lot to the whole unit. Definitely something that we feel like we've been capable of for a while, and we haven't put that on tape, but I feel like now that we put that on tape and we have that expectation from ourselves, I think it'll be great for us.
What are the biggest challenges Ohio's offense? Coaches talk about them throwing the ball a lot and also can run. This, at least in the conference, maybe one of the biggest challenges you guys have had on Saturday.
Yeah, I think there'll be a great opponent, prepare the same way. But I think we've seen some pretty good throwing offenses that have prepared us for this. They're a great team, so we'll just come in and work and do what we have to do to come out the way we want to come out.
What was it like for you guys as a front seven to have the game you had last week, especially going into a quarterback, playing quarterback era this week where you want to get pressure on him? What was it like having the performance you had last week with the amount of sacks that you guys had as a team going into a game like this?
It's addictive in a way. Like, it makes you want more, and it makes you want to build on that as a unit. Like, whether it's me, James Esther, Jaden Dolphin, Devontae O'Malley, we all love it for each other, and it makes us all want to go that much harder. So I think last week was great, and definitely want to build on it.
Logan, for you guys on the offensive side of the ball, the last 2 weeks we've seen great performances in both weeks from Ontario and Harrison. What's it like working with such quality backs in the backfield?
I mean, it makes our job a lot easier, knowing that, like, they can make a guy miss just in case we mess up or something, or we can clean up a block for them and get him to the freeway like Harrison on Saturday with that big run. He cleaned me up with a bad block, so it just makes it a lot easier for us.
Logan, how do you think the offensive line has kind of developed over the course of the year to be at the point where you're now, how much better are you in week 7 than you were in week 1 or 2 or 3?
I think we've grown a lot. There's been a lot of pieces in there, different people filling different spots, but even with that, we've grown a lot together, just communication, mending well together. I mean, we've gotten a lot better.
This is kind of for both of you guys. So we've seen over the last few years, especially during your guys' time here, Coach, rewarding walk-on players with scholarships, and last week we saw that to a T with Devontae finishing with 2 sacks and all that. What is words of advice that you have to maybe the younger guys that are maybe in that same position, that if you trust the process, like Coach says, that you can break through and get into the starting lineup?
Like, you got to come into work with your hard hat, work hard every day. It doesn't go unnoticed, whether you're on scout team or working against the ones or you're making your way up. I mean, it never goes unnoticed, and you can see through, like, Devontae and people like that. Eventually your time will come, and Coach Ham does a great job of rewarding those guys.
I kind of just to reiterate what he said, it's like, at the end of the day, if you're working, it doesn't matter if you're a walk-on or a scholarship guy. Like, if you're working and you're doing what you need to do outside of football, like, you're going to get rewarded. So just keep working. I mean, me personally, two of my best friends on the team were walk-ons at a point, and they both have a pretty big role on the team now. So it's like, just do what you have to do. The cream will rise to the top.
And then for you, David, last year you went down with an injury, you missed significant time, but this year you came back with a different passion. You're playing some of the best football that we've seen you play. What changed for you in the offseason?
I think I had a lot more time. So my freshman year, right after this season, I had surgery, and I missed that whole spring ball. So I had that injury I had last year midway through the season and missed some during the season, but I was pretty much healthy all of our spring ball. So I feel like having that time to develop with Junie and actually being able to play football in the spring helped a lot. And then, just listening to my coaches, Wimbo, Coach Benedetto, Coach Jackson, like, they put us in great positions. So.
For you guys on the offensive side of the ball, Logan, I know it was in more of a complimentary role last week, but you get your leader back, Rocky. What was it like to have him back in the huddle and then see him making plays back out there again?
He's like you said, he's such a great leader, and he brings such a presence to our team. I feel like whether he's on the field or off the field, he just does a great job commanding the troops and getting us to where we need to be. Just coming out there, being able to play as much as he did at whatever percent he was at, it helps us out a lot.
And then another one for David. Similar to offense, defense has seen a lot of injuries this year, but what have you seen out of some of the younger guys, like maybe the corners that have had to step up and play 1 and 2, that you are really confident for their future?
Yeah, it makes me happy to see them. Like, and there's a few guys that haven't had the opportunity to play that just by the way they work and the way they carry themselves and the way they attack every day is like, we know they'll be great guys. So, like, for example, like Jacob Finley and Nooney, Amarion Knighton, I guess you would know them by that instead. But like they're great players. Like they come, they listen to Eric, they listen to Jordan, they listen to Javon, and they do what they need to do to put themselves in great positions to play. And I think they've been doing that. And then at least in my room, we got a lot of young guys in my room that I think will be really good. So the way that they carry themselves, they're not the type of guys that think, like, you know, freshmen normally have like a mindset about themselves coming up from being probably the best on their team to, you know, a rude awakening in college. And I don't think that they ever had that rude awakening. And I think it helped them a lot.
And Coach always talks about you guys, you know, never get too high, never get too low, 1-0 each week. But it had to have been special to get that win, especially considering how this season has gone. What did that mean to you at this point in the season last week?
It meant a lot. I mean, going on that little spurt of 5 straight losses, that's tough. It's tough on your mental. I mean, then coming into that game, dominating, being able to get a win, celebrate with your brothers, it was just, it's the cherry on top. It's what you work for every week. You're trying to get that W no matter how. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I would say it's a huge confidence booster. Like, obviously, I think we're all great players, and I think we're a great football team. But just getting the rewards from our work is a really good feeling. So.
And just Coach started off today talking about the compete team, and we've talked a little bit about some of those guys and those young guys, but just talk about how they help you during the week to get to where we need to be on Saturday.
For me, Nash is a great competitor. I love going against him every day. I definitely think he gets the whole defense ready to play on Saturday. I don't think too many teams in the country have a compete team running back like Nash. So kudos to him.
And then on the offensive side, I mean, we have a great scout team D-line and scout team linebackers that they can fit roles of what other teams have, like an explosive D-tackle or a bigger D-tackle. We just have people that can fill those spots and do a great job doing it. Gives us a great look going into the game, and it's helped us a lot this year.
And for you, Logan, as someone who has to deal with the D-line week in and week out in practice, what would you say it meant to that D-line to see that validation of, you know, everybody's been getting a couple sacks the last few games. We saw James get a touchdown last week. Like, everybody's kind of been performing. You guys know how talented they are.
Mm-hmm. Like going against them every day, I know how good like you said, I know how good they are. I know their potential, and finally the plays are happening that they've been waiting for to happen, you know. Like the results are coming now. It just took a little time. I mean, they're doing a great job. They're helping our offense a lot. Getting like James got a touchdown, getting the sacks, putting us in great field position. It helps us out a lot too.
All right, any other questions for these gentlemen? All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Yep. All right, Dave and Brandon wants to do a little